Not that there's anything wrong with perks or green things, because when we come back, we're going to talk about medical marijuana changes, maybe marijuana perks.
I wonder how the Americans will handle that. Are big farms the way to go if this government wants to grow its own? You know what I mean? We'll discuss it next on Square Up. Phasing out its system for supplying medical marijuana to those who need it and replacing it with one that is based on large indoor farms.
Today, Ottawa launched a $1.3 billion free market in the medical pot, and the first sales are expected in a few weeks. Up until now, medical marijuana was produced by individual growers who could not supply more than 2 people each. Now those small growing operations will lose their licenses, meaning private production will no longer be allowed.
So how will these changes impact those who use pot for health reasons? Let's find out from Alison Myrden. She's a medical marijuana user who suffers from multiple sclerosis, and she's a spokesperson for law enforcement against prohibition. Alison, how do you get your medical marijuana now, and how will these new changes affect you?
Well, as of right now, I have what's called a designated grower here in Canada who makes me all kinds of things from food items on back as well as raw cannabis. And I get oil as well, cannabis oil. And I literally have been doing this for a number of years now. And the new rulings will affect me in so much so that 37,000 of us, more than 37,000 of us, prefer to grow our own and take care of ourselves. It's less affordability that way. It's more affordable, pardon me, that way. It's actually an issue that we've been fighting for a number of years. I've been doing this for well over 20 years here in Canada, and I know that if we legalized and regulated this plant, we wouldn't have these issues at all.
I wish I could make my own medicine, but I can't. I have to go to a store. I have to buy it. The price is what the price is. So if this is a move forward for medical marijuana as a whole, doesn't it make sense it would follow in the same footsteps as other medicines?
But it's not. It's very different, Liz. Medical marijuana, medical cannabis has been given to us to grow for over 12 years here in the country on license. So why all of a sudden are wanting to take it away from us? We don't understand. The only thing we can see is that the government wants to monopolize this issue and use the money to make whatever they want happen in this country happen. We need it for healthcare. We need it for things like schools and taking care of our children and taking care of ourselves and our families. Affordability is a key issue here in this country, and especially with this program. We cannot afford $8.80 a gram, and as far as I've heard, it can go up as high as $12 a gram. I personally have over 100 grams a day, and there's no way I could afford $1,000 a day just to live.
100 grams a day. So what is it costing you daily now when you've got your designated grower who's supplying you, who soon won't be able to do that?
Right. Well, I'm paying around $1 a gram right now.
That's pretty good.
Yes, and I'm getting it in edibles, and like I said, I'm getting soups and ice creams and puddings and cookies and chocolate bars and everything under the sun, as well as cannabis oil. Like I said, I take the cannabis oil under my tongue every day. I get that from my grower, and that I wouldn't have access to. That is one of the main things that's helping my multiple sclerosis is the cannabis oil. The Rick Simpson oil, they call it. And I've been taking that for 4 months now, and I've never felt better.
Well, one of the reasons Health Canada says these changes are necessary and to have large indoor farms is for quality control, and that does seem to make sense. Do you think that this will allow for better quality medical marijuana for you and other users?
Why? So companies like Monsanto can step in and take over and ruin the entire product? People take pride in what they grow to use as medicine, and people tend their gardens and work their gardens beautifully at home, and they get a lot of love and care that goes into that garden to take care of their medicine. So no, I don't want large companies taking over my medicine. I just don't want that to happen.
Alison, what do you say to those who look at the medical marijuana, someone like you, and say, well, all we're doing is allowing her to get high every day? How would you respond to someone like that who maybe doesn't understand what you're going through?
Well, the saddest part is, and I don't think people realize, that most of us don't get that effect from the THC after a number of years of consuming this product. We actually just get the effects from the CBDs and CBNs, which are other cannabinoids in the marijuana. And bottom line, Again, I have taken this to my doctor for over 2 decades. I have not been getting high. I just smoked just before I came in, and literally all I'm doing is walking better, and I'm able to consider my thoughts a little better than I could have before.
Okay, so based on all the challenges you feel that you're going to be faced with, do you think people like you will be faced with turning to illegal marijuana instead of following the rules, I guess?
I know we will. I know Liz will be forced to break those rules. And I know I've been talking to a lot of patients all over the country, those involved in the program that is running right now, the lawsuit that we're in called the MMAR PPL DPL Coalition Against Repeal. We have about 6,000 patients who have contacted us so far, and all of them are going to continue to grow their own illegally if they have to.
So I'm assuming that you've spoken to law enforcement officials who, by the way, when the chiefs of police met not too long ago, they voted virtually unanimously to change the rules regarding marijuana. Off the record, what do law enforcement officials tell you might happen, could happen, if you continue to use a designated grower? Which I'm assuming is going to be illegal under the criminal code fairly soon?
Well, I can tell you right now, Prime Minister Harper did not build those jails for nothing. So I know what his plans are. I know he plans to jail people like me that choose to consume cannabis as medicine and continue to grow our own. And we will fight that every step of the way. We have a chartered right that says that we can consume this as medicine. And I, for one, am not going to stop until I see that come to fruition.
Alison Myrden is a medical marijuana user. She suffers from multiple sclerosis. She's a spokesperson for law enforcement against prohibition. Always a pleasure having you on. Thanks so much for your expertise, and we hope you're feeling better.
Thank you so much, Mark. Thanks, Liz.